Hi everyone. In this video, we will cover international money transfer flow. Okay, so let's first understand what is the use case here. So John sends money to Maria in India. Okay, so that's the use case. One country to another country. This is a bank transfer. So let's go through the process flow. So John initiates the transfer from mobile app here to Maria. So John logs into his banking app, enters Maria's detail in India along with amount and confirm the transfer step. Okay, transfer amount. So this is the first step. Now request sent to John's bank. Okay, the transfer request is sent to John's bank for validation. So when John, it's not mean John provided all his requirement, but bank has to run the validation, right? Such as, does this customer in good standing, right? Does this customer have this much of money, right? Check all the business related validation, AML fraud validation. So third step, the validation, account check, balance check, KYC, limit check, compliance and fraud, right? So all the validation, once it approved, now funds sent to the correspondent bank to payment network. So let's talk about the correspondent bank, right? So let's say this is a bank in Canada. Let's say this is RBC and this is a ICICI Bank in India. So RBC and ICICI, for example, they don't have direct connection, right? So how RBC payment, the request honored by ICICI here, right? So to connect these two banks, there will be a generic common bank. That's the bank we call as correspondent bank. Vostro and Nostro accounts are maintained by both the banks, right? So what example, for example, this Canadian bank, let's say this is a bank in USA, Citibank. So this A bank in Canada have a US dollar account in Citibank, and ICICI have a account in Citibank, right? So both of them have a account in Citibank. So one A bank will give instruction to Citibank, correspondent bank, transfer 100,000 USD to ICICI Bank. So how the rates are fixed, how the rates are taken. So this A bank in Canada have to deal with ICICI Bank or in the international money market against rate, right? Like these banks sell $100,000 and purchase INR on the market, right? So once this is purchased, now technically this bank has money, and when their customers requesting money, the correspondent bank will release the required amount to this bank's account. That's how the transactions happen. So behind the scene, okay? So now that's the settlement process. So funds received by Maria's bank in India, and if conversion is required, this is applied, and Maria's account get credited. So this is very interesting. The payments are really very, very interesting use case if you're interested. So how you can learn this one, not by watching video or reading. So you have to act like a customer, right? Like when you transfer money using Western Union or Remitly and other app, try to write the user flow, customer journey, how this is working, right? So behind the scene is what's happening. If you're not aware, that's okay, but at least try to map the user flow. Okay. Okay, so let's now go to today's exercise related to payments. Okay, so this is the job posting related to international payment, what the job posting job requirement is. A global payment company is expanding its international remittance platform. So these are the requirements. Customer can send money internationally using mobile app, online banking, agent location. So recipients can receive money through bank account, mobile wallet, cash pickup. So these are the main functionality. The platform supports FX conversion, foreign currency, compliance screening, fraud monitoring, correspondent banking, Swift messaging, local payout network. So these are the system capabilities. Okay. These are the business requirements. So now they are looking for a business analyst who can get a requirement, this type of project and document payment flow, support API integration, work with compliance team and analyze products and issues and create Jira stories. Okay. So now let's try to understand our business case. Maria lives in Canada. She sends money to her mom living in another country. So Maria expects secure transfer, clear exchange rate, delivery confirmation. So this is our use case. Okay. So let's try to build some requirement around this use case. Okay. So the company must verify sender, screen transaction, convert currency, route payment, settle funds, notify both parties. These are the high level requirement, right? So sender must be verified, screen transaction. So let's go through the flow. So customer, mobile app, payment processing, recipient, this high level flow. So now your exercise start. Can you try to match the sequence of this process flow? A, customer initiated transfer. B, recipient account credited, compliance screening. D for forex conversion, payment instruction created, correspondent bank processing. So A, I guess A is good here. This is number one. Okay, recipient bank account. So what is number two here? So number two is compliance. Check the AML screening or fraud screening. Number three, DS, foreign currency conversion, right? So this is based on the flow given here in this question, okay? But there are more detail in between this one. So we are trying to understand the bigger picture here. Number four, what would be the number four? What is remaining? Recipient account credit. I think this would be last. Payment instruction created. I guess this would be number four. Okay. Next one, correspondent bank processing. And last, this one, number six. Okay. So let's go through step by step. First, customer initiates the transfer. Compliance screening will happen. Number three, foreign currency conversion. Number four, payment instruction is created. Number five, correspondent bank processing. Number six, recipient account credited. Okay, that's the sequence. Now next, let's understand the systems are involved here. So we have, for example, customer login. The system is mobile banking application. Okay. Here the functionality, currency conversion. So what is the system is involved? Foreign currency engine. Okay, so that's the first one. Fraud detection, you can see number C. Fraud system, international messaging. So that's the Swift network. Next one, customer access. That's a mobile app, right? So these are the systems. Okay, so now our fifth question, business requirement. For example, customer must be able to send money internationally. This is what business is saying, right? So this is a business requirement. For example, system shall encrypt payment data. This is not a business requirement, this is a system requirement. Okay. So there are 5, 6 lines are there, requirements are there. Let's segregate what are the business requirements, what are the system requirements. Okay. The first one, customer can view exchange rate. Is it a business requirement or system requirement? So this is a business requirement. So I'll write B. Okay, so otherwise take time. Next one, system shall support swift message. So this is a system requirement, right? Customer receive transfer confirmation. This is a business requirement. API response time under 3 seconds. SLA is 3 seconds, so this is a system requirement. Number 5, customer can track payment status. Business requirement. Number 6, system store transaction log. System requirement. Okay, so here customer can view exchange rate. Let me put all this business requirement together so that you know. Okay. Oh, there any other one? Okay. Okay. I think I did a mistake. Okay. Customer can view exchange rate. Customer receive transfer information. Customer can track payment status. See the pattern, right? It thinks from the user perspective. So if you see these ones, system ones, let's put everything here. There'll be one more message here. So it's talking about the technical components. API is the technical component. It's talking about the SLA, system store transactions. It's talking about the system, how it can track the log and support swift messages, right? So these all components, system components. So those are system requirements. Okay, let's move on to the next one, requirement building. Let's build some requirements. Let's take one example first. Customer wants to know exchange rate before sending money. So this is what the business stakeholder said. How we can write this requirement? So we can write customer shall be able to view exchange rate before confirming the transfer. So let's build a couple of more requirements. Business need customer want confirmation when transfer is completed. Okay, let's fill up this blank. Okay. Customers shall receive what? Confirmation, right? Customer receive confirmation. Let me copy. Customer receive confirmation when transfer is complete. Next requirement is customer want to track transfer. Okay. Customer shall be able to view what? Transfer status. Right? It's slightly wording is different. That's it. Customer wants to secure transfer. System shall perform verification before processing what? Identity, right? Okay. All right. Okay. So those are the 3 requirements. Few sample. You can list all the system requirement for the flow. You can list all the business requirement, and you can continue the same exercise what I'm doing here. Okay. So I'm not going through all the requirement here. Just I'm showing the pattern how a business analyst need to capture the requirement in different angle, different perspective, right? So you can start doing the same thing. Okay. Let's move on. What other artifacts? we talked about. Okay, so these are fill in the blanks for system requirements. So one example, system shall support ISO 20022 messaging format. So here, system shall support messaging for international transfer. What's the right answer, right choice? Swift messaging. Swift messaging. System shall perform screening before payment processing. What? AML. System shall validate account details. What? Beneficiary. Okay, so these are all requirement. So now let's build some Jira stories here. Okay, allow customer to send money internationally. So what is this? This is a user story, right? So there are different type of Jira tasks created. One is user story, task, and spike. So that's the exercise you need to understand what should be a spike, what should be the task, and what would be a user story. Okay, so let's go through the exercise here. Match. Allow customer to track transfer status. Can you tell me, is it a user story or spike or task? So what is the difference between spike? Spike is investigation task, like to complete the analysis or design before the user story is written. Okay, a task is not exactly like a user story. So testing is not required. So for example, if developer want to set the development environment, that should be a task, right? Or someone has to coordinate with the database team. The tech lead has to coordinate with the database team to implement the database, or send request a new table, provide an intake request. So that should be a task. That's not a functional thing. So anything system related functional, more precisely, if it is testing required, we create a user story in Jira. If it is testing not required, it's purely enhancing a log or creating some unit cases. It's development related task, but testing not required. That should be a task. And tester can create and BA can create. So that's a task, okay? So if you don't worry, don't get confused what's how to create tasks, how to create. Just focus on creating user stories. When you start working on a project, and team will say, "Hey, we don't need a user story. We need a task." So it's okay. You can write everything in a user story format. If team feel this is does not need to test, and we can easily convert a user story into a task, or task into a user story. So don't worry, like as a beginner, what to create. So you can, for the time being, just go ahead and create user stories. So this just I'll give you idea what type of items we created during the project. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Investigate delayed settlement in payment corridor, right? So this is an investigation related something. So this would be a spike. Okay. Next one, configure FX rate calculation rules, right? So when rates are configured, so this can be a user story also, but more we can do it as a task. So the FX rate calculation rules configuring have to do in multiple environment, right? Like UAT environment and testing environment, different branches, production environment. So tester won't be able to test this one. Yeah, tester can test this one under the user story, whether the rates are calculated properly, but this just a configuration update, right? Like nothing will happen because there will be regression testing will be done before this one, right? So this more appropriate is creating a task. So developer can go ahead and update the rates. So next one, research new payout printer integration, right? So this is research, right? So this would be a spy. Okay, so now let's go back to user story writing. Few user story. The title is International Money Transfer. Description: allow customer to send money internationally using supported payout method. So here, small exercise. The user story is already built, and we just need to map here, write description. Okay. So transfer status tracking. What is matching? So customer exchange rate before confirmation. Notify customer when transfer completes, allow customer to track their transfer progress, right? So I think 3 would be more appropriate here, right? The title here. Let me copy this one. Okay. So the next one we have show customer exchange rate before confirmation, right? So obviously this should be. Did I miss this one? So transfer status, let's go here with the title. We write the number here, okay? So transfer status tracking, number 3. I say number 3, right? Okay, number 3, which is allow customer. Let me copy this one here so that number is here. Okay. So effect rate display. Which one? Show customer exchange rate before confirmation, right? So here, this is number 1. Next one, we have only one is remaining, which is notify customer when transfer complete, right? Transfer confirmation. Okay. Remember the description. Next one, let's set the acceptance criteria for the user story. So the user story requirement is say customer can view exchange rate. So acceptance criteria is definition of done. So here you see exchange rate displayed before confirmation. Customer can review rate saved with transaction. These are exchange rate review related acceptance criteria. Okay. So your job is very easy. I provide the one-line acceptance criteria. Your job is just to fill in the blanks here. So first one, requirement here. Let's read the requirement. Customer receive transfer confirmation. So first action, confirmation sent after what? Reference, recipient, history. So after recipient receive the money, right? Credit. So confirmation includes what? History or reference? Reference number, right? Confirmation available in payment history. So very easy, guys. Okay, so make it very precise and short sentence, whatever requirement you are documenting. Okay. Next, test cases. So for example, valid transfer successfully processed. So this is a happy path, positive test case, right? Just write whether this is a happy path or exception handling or negative test case. That's your task test case is already provided. A, invalid beneficiary account. So invalid means we are expecting to provide a right account number, right? So if it is invalid, that's a negative one, right? So that's a negative test case here. Let me cut and paste here. Valid transfer. So if the transfer is valid, that's a happy path, right? That's a positive test case, obviously. Okay, extremely high transfer amount, right? So this is edge cases, right? It's not all the customers send millions dollars, right? So this is a edge case here. So let me, you have to test lower and high value transactions. So that's why the edge case is required. Okay, so these are the answer key. Let's see if I have the learning summary just to go through. Okay, there's no learning summary. Okay, so let's go through the learning summary here. So we understood what is required, work in global remittance or international payments. There are lot of acronyms or words. They're different companies using. So if you understand overall bigger picture, like how the flow is working, that's my main idea. All this core banking concept, it's difficult to cover. Like if you don't know how the flow, if you don't know the domain, but if you understand the overall picture, that's good enough, and try to use day-to-day these flows. And if you can document the user flow, the customer journey, and you will get an idea. Okay, so that's my plan also, to provide an idea like behind the scene what's happening, how BA will capture requirement for this project. That's the main, my aim is. Okay, so here you understand how this what are the features required, business use case, and the high level flow. And we match the process flow, how customers send money. Then we start writing, find out what systems are involved. This is very important. Like when you're starting a project, document what systems are involved, right? What technical components are involved right here. You see, FX engine, fraud detection, international messaging, customer access. These are the main idea, and identify the business requirement and identify the system requirement. That's very important. Next, you will move on to how to write requirement. Someone is providing a requirement on the BRD, or someone is verbally telling or sending an email. So how to document those requirements. Once you understand what type of requirement, this is business or system document requirement, and you start writing your user stories. So user stories should be very precise and clear, with the title and the description and with the acceptance criteria. Okay, and you don't need to write test cases, but sometimes I write like a testing scope, right? Like I provide the test cases, so they can copy and paste test cases, then they can start testing. But I am recommending, if you don't know, please do not write. If you miss any scenario, that would be a problem, because testers might tell you, I copied the test cases from the user story. This scenario was not included, but tester has to think all the positive and negative scenarios. But yeah, if you are sure, maybe you can write like test this one using Postman, or test this one end to end, or something like that. If you know, write clear instruction. Otherwise, you have to know how to create test cases. This is how it looks like. For example, this is positive and edge cases and negative test cases. Okay, I hope this is useful for you, and I'll see you guys in a different video. Thank you, and have a good day, everyone.